floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Okay. Do you prefer Israeli language or English? Or Italian?
Italian.
Italian? Okay. So we both in the middle, we speak English. Someone told me that you like a lot the theoretical part, and why not to do 4 hours, for example. This was my suggestion. But then, Bosmar said, no, 3, then he said 2, and at last said, 1 is enough. But be ready to stand up, because this is not the typical neurophysiological lessons. I want you to try. Because I know you are not a physical trainer, most of you. So the idea is to share something that you can use from this afternoon, from tomorrow, from maybe not tomorrow if you rest, from after tomorrow. My problem that I had, I started to be a coach in the first 10 years, and after 27 years ago, and then I became later a physical trainer, and I understood that to be a good coach, we have to be the real physical trainers, and also the opposite. My suggestion for physical trainers is to do at least a basis level coaching to understand exactly what the physical training in basketball is. We started 40 years ago, 50 years ago, with only the physical trainer in athletics and in bodybuilding. This was the first 2 sports that gave us some ideas. But from 2000, we understood with the metabolism, with the science and evidence-based, we understood that that kind of physical trainer was not fit for basketball. So the idea was that each sport must have his own physical training. And I say around 2000, David Blatt was in Italy. He won the championship together with the Kutzalin. It is the first European physical trainer that went to NBA in Toronto Raptors. And after that year, Blatt and Kutzalin went to the Russian Federation. They won the European championship in the Russian Federation. And they completely changed the mind. The national, for example, Russian Federation was have the habit to run in the woods, and this was the typical starting of every preparation. But the concept became completely different. And what was the first word that changed and that I want to sign for you is to be functional. This was the new word that changed a lot the situation. Functional means that everything is specific to the sport. And there is not the physical trainer, but there is the volley physical trainer, the soccer physical trainer, and the basketball physical trainer. This means functional. That's why I should like to share with you what helps as coach to become also physical trainer, and yeah. Okay. And for physical trainer to have any idea about coaching. This is our schedule today. Now we have 1 hour together. What we are going to do in this hour is just to understand better what we are going to do on the court. So it's nothing separated. Because if a coach sees the first step starting dribbling, maybe he can say, okay, that's the first step starting dribbling. What's that? I should like you to try to look from a physical point of view. So technical and physical are nearly the same things. It's like a coin with 2 faces. Because I can also say as physical trainer that to do that first step, you need to move the weight on the pivot foot, to use the transversus abdominals, to use the iliopsoas stretching, to use the long step, to push with the arms, so all the joints, and to close with the wrist. So, is this technical or is this physical? So we are speaking about the same things from just the other point of view. What happened?
Move the mouse. Just move the mouse.
Maybe
So
yeah, maybe
maybe I close.
yes. Let's.
So here, I developed considering the different point of view. So now we speak about the general idea of the physical trainer. What is injury prevention from a coach point of view, not only for physical trainer point of view, and how we can have a good conditioning according with this. Then we go with the practice with the U15 team that I met yesterday, how to integrate the physical technical part. And this was an example. How many times you say to a player, when you shoot, the arch is not high enough? It's possible you said sometimes? Okay. When you play in defense, you don't bend your knees. It's possible you say sometimes. Do you think players cannot do this for a technical reason? Nearly often when a player cannot do something from technical point of view, that's because he has a limit in the physical part. And now we can try to understand it together. So the easy starting is, our aims is to know what we are speaking about when we say physical training, and we have to understand functional, connecting with the basketball and with what the player has to do. Who is physical trainer here? 1 and 2, right? All the other are coaches and 3. So, just coaches or both things? No one is, you are both. And Rory, you're both. So, very quickly. I point this to understand better our content. The first part is the blue performance factor, what you need about the physical development, what are the functional specific movement in basketball, and okay, and this is the loading capacity, but your experience will be better to understand if it's light practice or heavy practice. And in the second part, we see directly the prevention and which kind of workouts we can use for the prevention, balance position, the body control, postural body control, coordination, and how to manage a practice. To understand better after becoming coach and after becoming physical trainer, I start studying postural muscular chains, because biomechanics always give you a lot of advice how to manage the fundamentals. And after that, I understood that all the chains that we know, for example, you know maybe this kind of chain that can be done also like this, and we call this carpiate. Okay, when the body is square, we can have this kind of chains when you are striped. It is the shooting position. Okay, and we call these stretch chains. Or we can have also extension of one leg. That is the running position, when you need to do this. This is the extended chain. These are the 3 fundamental chain of the biomechanical, any sports you are going to do. So, if I want to empower the abdominal and I do crunch, the question is, why? Crunch doesn't work, because crunch is monoarticular. So as coach, what I ask you is to go out from the idea that the body is a pieces, like a chain, but every part of the chain, and this is the revolution that happens, must be connected. So all the muscles must be connected, because the brain doesn't know each muscle movement. If I have to write, my brain doesn't think lift the shoulders, flex the elbows, get the pen, extend the elbows, flex the wrist, the brain doesn't work in that way. The brain knows the movement. So what is important in the movement of your player, in the action of your player, the technical part of your player, is not the single movement of the body, but is that they have the movement, the technical movement, that is always global. So this is the revolution that gave us the idea that all the muscles have to work together. So never flex the back, never bend the knees, because the muscles have to work interacted. Later we go a little more deeply in this, if you're interested, but I just tell you, just to know, if we do this kind of muscular chains, we are working on the abdominals. If we do this kind of shooting position, we are working on abdominals together with the gluteus. And this becomes very important because when I stand, if I don't have abdominals, I go in hyperlordosis, and when I shoot, the shoot is from behind to front, and the arch will be very low, 60 degrees, 65 degrees. But you need 75, Stephen Curry is 78 degrees, and that means that you need to push up, not with the abdominals down, gluteus, so you need from down to up. So you can ask a player to shoot 1,000 times. If you don't correct the physical aspects, he will never shoot in the right way. And the third chains always works abdominals, that are the core stability, the core balance. Maybe you heard about this. Maybe say core stability, distance, ability. That means if you want to have good feet and good hands, you must be strong in the middle. And this is connected with the hamstrings. So the first idea I want you to try, if first I show you, then I ask you to stand up, because I want you to take this with you. If I lift my arms and I extend it to one leg, question is, which is the muscles that now is working for lifting the legs back? Try with the right leg and then try with the left leg. The answer could be number 1, lumbar, number 2, gluteus, or number 3, hamstrings. Stand up, please, and tell me the answer. You felt the lumbar spine, at least with one leg. Who of you felt the lumbar spine? Okay. Can I ask you to come one moment? Who of you felt the gluteus? Gluteus? Okay. All the rest felt hamstrings? So you are a good sportman? Okay. He felt lumbar. Have you never have low back pain?
Yeah, that's it. That's why.
Okay. Can we see your shape? Okay. So probably he has hyperlordosis. You see? And when you have hyperlordosis here, often comes hyperkyphosis, and comes that the shoulders go close, not to fall. Because if you're in Brazilian ass, so we understand, okay, you will fall. Not to fall in front, you have to close the shoulders. And now tell me how the guys can shoot 75 degrees high. And sometimes, if one muscles of the legs is short, you have a rotation, and of course the shoulders must compensate. And you send to the doctor, and the orthopedic say scoliosis, right? But this has nothing to do with scoliosis. This is biomechanical compensation. So if you want, later we see the drills for the low back pain. So if the abdominal is not active, lumbar works, person can compensate like this or can compensate like this. None of you feel pain here to the trapezius? No one of you? In my cabinet, because I'm an osteopathic doctor, like a chiropractic. I don't know if you know here in Israel this kind of medicines. Often people comes, I feel pain here on the shoulders. Okay, but if you are in this way, not to fall, you have to close and to pull. And this is the typical compensation. And now the player cannot lift the shoulders. And this is very problem. But the problem is not here, the problem is here, that he doesn't use the correct abdominal. So the right word answer for you was, in extended chains, you have to feel abdominals and hamstrings. But you can try one more time to open the chest and to lift the leg. And then close the chest and lift the leg. And tell me the difference. If you can try, open the chest. Tell me, which kind of difference? Back. In which case? When you stretch, you have feel back pain. Other difference?
When I stretch, I felt the hamstring, and when I was like this, I felt
okay. Other chair? Other differences? From biomechanical point of view, if the player, and nearly everyone is like that, especially female. Some of you have female team? Okay. Female naturally go in hyperorthosis like this. So for them it's much more difficult than for boys. If you lift the leg without abdominal, it's the lumbar spine that is working. And at the end of the practice, the player will come to you, hey coach, I feel low back pain. Something happen? If you activate a little the abdominals and you lift the legs, now the charge is on the gluteus. But if you close completely your abdominal, as it should be, now the charge is on the hamstrings. This is what we call biomechanics. Okay? The reason is very easy. You can get in 1 second. If this is our pelvis, okay? The middle, this is the rotation of the pelvis. Okay, so the wheel can go on or back. Okay? What we have front? We have the front leg that pull, right? And what is the front muscles? Which are the front muscles? Quadriceps. Do you agree? Okay. And in the back we have the spine. So we have the hyperlordosis with all the vertebra, the lumbar vertebra. Okay. Not to feel this kind of traction so that your player cannot shoot, we need to rotate back. Can you tell me how to rotate back to solve this problem? Sure, we have to activate this kind of muscle behind. And what is that kind of muscle behind that rotate back the pelvis? Gluteus, sure. So gluteus, and another way is to lift up from front. And which are the muscles that we have that lift from front? Abdominals, right? Perfect. And now you got in 2 minutes what it took 10 years for me. That if you want to have a good shape functionally, if you want to have good fundamentals, shooting, passing, sliding, dribbling, you need abdominals, because the abdominals are the basis of the back rotation of the hips. When you shoot, you need abdominals with gluteus, because abdominals with gluteus are what create the strength to go from down to up, and not from back to front. And you have 75-degree arch when player shoot. And when you run, abdominals activate hamstrings. Okay? So the first idea is you need abdominals, core stability. This is the translation from the American about. Do you think this is very difficult for a coach to ask player to stay in these 3 positions? It's enough that instead of the crunch that ask the player to flex the back, but when he shoots, the abdominals must feel the shoulders, so never flexion, and not flex the leg, typical in every gym, crunch with the flexed legs, but this is useless. We need that the abdominals feels all the strength that arrive from the shoulders and all the tension that arrive from the calf, from the ankles, and from the hamstrings. So no flexion, because you have to teach the body to work as it has to work. Or do you think that when you walk, we walk like this? With flex legs and flex back. So this is the first world muscular chain for empowering abdominals. This is the second one. For you, you can pull and press on the floor and then breathe. And this is one of the best low back pain drill. Okay. In your case, it's for your low back. For the player, it is the only way he can catch and shoot. So when we lift the arm, we cannot go like this, but we have to stay with the activated abdominals. And this allows you to have the arch the player. If the player do like this, now the shoot is like this, from back to front. Okay? And this is for running. For running, so the drills, if you understand, we close abdominals, I lift, I feel hamstrings and down. I lift, I feel hamstrings and down. And the player will not tell you at the end of the practice, coach, I have low back pain. Okay? I think it's enough for this session. If you have any question, we can interact very quickly. Huh? So, we run outside. First of all, the coach have to know which is the length of the court. We have volleyball court often, but it's very useful for our drills because we know that from the first to the second line is 6 meters, to half court 3 and 3, and then another 6 meters. So this is 18 meters. When we shall have the drills for the endurance, I always use the volleyball lines because it gives you the idea how many meters the player has to run in the time that you decide. Okay. Of course, you can use basketball court because you know 40 meters and 40 meters. But this is not what you need because in your age, who is you 13, 14 of you? 15, 16, 18? Okay. In your age, we have to go from 15 to 20 meters. First division, guards run 24 meters in 5 seconds, and big man, first division, run 21 meters in 5 seconds. So at your age, to do endurance, okay, nearly like the yo-yo test, but the time is always 5, but we shall see this. I ask players to be ready, run, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then usually after 20 seconds, what happens in a basketball game?
Break.
Referee whistle. So why to run more than 20 seconds? 40 minutes in the wood, this is not our sport. Okay, performance factor. I jumped very quickly on this just because from physical trainer I didn't know how many, but for coaching you know all these things. What it will be interesting for us is this one, because here we have the endurance and here we have the explosive strength. That are the only two things that you have to catch as coach, because you have to become the physical trainer. Remember this. You don't need a physical trainer to develop the endurance and to develop the explosive strength. You can do with your technical drills. Okay, and the physical trainer will help you for the functional movement, how to empower specifically. But but you can get it also. Maybe for the injury prevention, but I will show you that the coach can do that. Okay? So the idea is that the coach becomes the physical trainer, because you are, even if you don't know it, you don't think about that. Easy example. Okay, we start the practice. Tic-tac. You know tic-tac? A couple with the one ball, pass, pass back, all the court. Okay. Now the question is, if you have 12 players, can you tell me how many balls? 6. And here is the first problem, that coach doesn't write the practice. If coach doesn't write the practice, how can understand how many seconds they run, how many seconds they rest, and which intensity is requested? And this is coach part, not only physical training. So if I ask my player, I have 12, for example, from the baseline to run full court. Okay, how many balls we give to these players for doing tick, run, pass, run,
3.
pass, and layup. The question is, do you think about that when you prepare the practice?
No.
And you start to become physical coach, technical coach, because it's the same things. If you give one ball, 2 are active, right? And 10 doesn't move. That means 1 on 5, right? 1 on 5 ratio. 1 active time and 5 rest. Do you think this is enough to develop something? Okay. So another coach say, no, I give you 2 balls. So with 2 balls, 4 goes and 8 stay. And this is 1 on 2. Very different. Another coach say, no, I give you, boys, you can get 3 balls.
You can divide them to the other side.
Pardon?
You can put 6 players on the other side.
Yeah, if you want. But from our idea, what is important is not from where they start, but if they run or stay. Okay. So active time or recovery. If we give you 3 balls, that means that 6 goes and 6 stay. So ratio is 1 and 1. 1 go, 20 seconds go, 20 seconds stay. Right? And some others coach can say, no. Each couple must have 1 ball. So after a few seconds, you have 12 players going. That means no one rest and 12 go. Okay, now this is the element that you have to get with you. You prepare, you are the coach, you prepare your tactical, your technical. I say the tic-tac, but we can speak about a pick and roll with weak wings, nothing changed. 3 play pick and roll with weak wings for the triangle inside, and the other 9 rest. Okay, so the idea is the same. We have to understand in each of the other technical drills which kind of action, active time, and which kind of rest. Not you, but many coach said, go, why you go slower, go, no rest, go, 90 minutes, go. Which metabolism are we using? And this is what I want you to share with you. I don't give you now the answer is coming. Okay, anthropometric measure, these are your players from PISA, this one, okay. Of course, U13 and U16, completely different. They don't have proteins, enzymes. They cannot be too fast for a long period. They are after adolescence, so that means that the pushing of the proteins and of the muscle start. So I cannot ask a guy like this to do what they they can do, and opposite. But you know the children, who is mini basket instructor from you? Okay, when a small kids run slowly or run all he can? All he can. And after that, if you tell him, keep going, if you want to rest, he goes or not? No. Because it is an auto-regulamentation. Because they know they cannot go in lactic acids. They cannot switch the metabolism. Okay? And they stop by themselves. But you can push them. And they will do for you. But you have to know that you crush the muscles. And you will not have the condition. So what the magic word is rest to be a good coach. If they don't rest, you switch the metabolism, it's not basketball anymore. But we said one thing, that we want functional physical training for basketball. So we have to understand which is the metabolism our player needs when we coach them. And now we see which is this metabolism. Other side. Okay.
You have to put also the intensity in the doing.
Absolutely.
The rest,
Sure.
Rest ratio is
Absolutely. If I
depends on
run,
the intensity.
if I run, perfect. Intensity. This is the third intensity factor. Because I can run 20 seconds slowly or fast. And it's completely changed from endurance to explosive strength to a lactacid. And we kill the player because that's not our metabolism. 800-meter athletics is that metabolism. Because you told me every 20 seconds what happened? Referee whistle. Don't forget this. Referee whistle. So we have that time that the game gives us. Metabolism. Okay, I don't want to go deep in this, just you know which of the two that we have this kind. This is slow because oxygen needs to be burned. This is very quick. If I get a flight, I can get it very quick, but I cannot do this for half a minute. Okay? After 5-10 seconds, it's finished. So I can shoot, but I cannot shoot for half an hour without stopping. If not, the muscle crush. Okay? So, we in the one of high intensity, as your name is? Oni said, high intensity, oxygen doesn't have time. So our body asks to a ready part that is not oxygen metabolism. So anaerobic. Which one? If referee whistle, so we stop after 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. How many actions in your life did you see that last more than 40 seconds in a basketball game? Nearly never, right? Less than 5% lasts more than at least 40 seconds. Okay? So of course we don't have to go in the second one. The second one starts when sugar is finished with oxygen and something different happens. Your body tells you, hey, you asked me to sprint, you asked me to sprint, you asked me to sprint, but I finish that quick energy. I have to switch metabolism. And the second metabolism is lower. And in that moment the coach gets angry. Why you are going slower now? Because the first one lasts 15 seconds, 20 seconds. And after that, the second metabolism starts. So consider always how much active, and how long active, and how long rest, and which intensity you want from your play. You understood that basketball is a sport with mixed metabolism request. So you have to coach aerobic, that means slow, intermediate high, to give you an idea, transition, offensive transition, defensive transition, 75% of the strength. And anaerobic lactacid, that means few seconds, bam, high intensity, one-on-one, in defense, 1-on-1 in offense, 2-on-2 collaborations. So we are here inside. So every drills that you want, pick and roll, 5 outs, dribble drive, motions and extra pass, all you like, count that most of the drills must be 75%, and inside these drills, few moments, bam, 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 where you ask small sprints. Who told you this? The match analysis. Of course, we can understand this because match analysis, the technology allowed us to count exactly how many seconds. So, coaches, you can think to all your basketball drills, considering that every time that drills is 1 time rest, 1 time active, you are working on the endurance. 1 time means 20 seconds they go, 20 seconds they rest. 30 seconds they go, 30 seconds they rest. Maximum 40 seconds they go, 40 seconds they rest. The reason is neurophysiological. I don't want to go in these things, but because that kind of energy needs 30 seconds to be restored. Just got this, okay? So all your drills, you have to know that the basketball match moves here inside. Weak side, fast break, offensive, defensive transition. Okay. And the other small seconds, you move inside this part. That means explosive action. Few seconds. And coach, this is what you have to get for you. 1-on-3. Every time you work 1-on-3, you are working on explosive action.
85, 80%. This is 100%.
Now that the number, they will come. It would be great and enough that you get these two numbers. 1-on-1 for the endurance, because maybe you say, for half an hour we play a great game. In the last quarter, disaster. That means that your player needs more endurance. Or, my player lasts 40 minutes, but no one is explosive. That means that you have to work on explosive action. Explosive action is 1-on-3. That means 10 seconds active, 30 seconds, 30 seconds rest. Perfect. Okay. 10 seconds, crossover, fake, sprint, layup, 30 seconds, rest. And you can have explosive action. So now your ability is to put these few seconds inside this basketball. This must be your ability now. So build all your drills where more or less they go, but sometimes in that action you ask for a couple of sprints. And this is, okay, heart rate. All these things comes, I told you, from technology. And during a basketball game, the only things that you have to know is this. Heart is 90% of his maximum. In basketball, that's why it's specific, functional to basketball. Because soccer have another heart rate. Volleyball has another heart rate. And if some of you like clinic during practice, that means to explain a lot to players, have to know that after 30 seconds, heart rate is down. You are not conditioning anymore the team. And here is the second point. Give the rest, but don't speak more than 30 seconds. Because we have one aim, game. We have only one aim, game. In game, heart is this. So you have to coach to this heart rate if you want to condition your player. And this heart rate means never stop them more than 30 seconds. But give them 30 seconds. Okay? Any questions? Yeah?
Every 30 seconds to give them 30 seconds?
It depends what you are practicing. If you want endurance, every 30 seconds you give 30 seconds. If you want explosive, every 10 seconds give 30 seconds.
You didn't speak about the lactic.
Sorry?
You didn't mention the lactic metabolism. Where it works in this concept.
We don't use lactis metabolism in basketball.
But sometimes if you're in 89% of heart rate, probably you have some lactic accumulation.
Okay, is the question clear for everyone? I answer you with the meta-analysis. You have lactic acids only if you arrive to this. Only 95% of the heart rate. The metabolism tell you that you are to the limit with the lactic acids. Okay. And you can tell me how to reach this. I agree with you. If you ask intensity for 40, 50, 60 seconds, you go in lactic acid. Okay?
So sometimes you need it. Sometimes you need it.
Sometimes you need it. It's correct, the 5% of the timing, and the suggestions of who writes the books is pre-season, never in season. So pre-season you give the capacity, and in season you transform the capacity in strength. This is the idea. So in August, September, October you can be high frequency, and then when you go in November, December you decrease because you want higher speed.
Yeah.
Because if you go longer, you go slower. Remember this. Players cannot run fast and long. You have to choose. You want them fast, or you want them to long distance. Usually at the beginning of the season, we prefer to do amount of things with the slow speed. And when we arrive in season, less things, higher speed. And at last, March, April, absolutely small session. Practice can last 50 minutes, it's enough, but finish. Now I run because I want to go in on the practical things. Okay? What we see on the court? Specific, we said functional. So how to run, intensity, duration, recovery. Okay, you know jumping, acceleration, speed change, direction. So if our player needs this during the game, you have to give them this during the practice. Easy concept. If the referee whistle every 20, 30 seconds, why you ask your player to run for more time? No reason. Okay, drills. We shall see strength drills, okay, fit with quickness, speed of movement, how to develop the endurance, proprioception and visual abilities, okay, all the stabilization, and which are the coordination that we need from functional basketball movements. We see practically on the court. I don't want you to lose time here. Okay, here is just the different, what means strength. If strength has speed, becomes powerness, but not so. Okay, loading capacity. What is important here is this: intensity, duration, recover. So every drills from tonight, when you prepare dribble drive, you have to think every action, how much want it last, and how much they stay in the lines to recover. At least 50% of the practice must have the intensity of the game. This is the rules that physical trainer decided. Half of your practice must be at the rhythm of the game, if you want to be the condition.
Even day before game?
Every practice. the day before game, because we speak about heart rate. So the game before game, you can do also half an hour. Practice before game. You can use small quantity, high intensity. Okay, not endurance, because endurance creates slowness in the fiber. So endurance is at the beginning of the week, and the quickness is at the end of the week. This is the progression. Because long run creates slow movement. So before a game, few seconds, pam, pam, pam. Okay. And this is the basis part that we shall see. Okay. For example, you see 1-on-1 drills. Now you will understand when I will ask player to run 1 and to rest 1. 1-on-3, they sprint 1 and recover 3. Match analysis tell us, I have 10 minutes, okay? Match analysis tell us interesting things, that in 1 minute, every player had 3-6 action of 10-20 seconds, then the referee restart. In every minute, there are 2-3 actions that last maximum 20-30 seconds, then referee restart. So, you see that every game can have this kind of action. Maybe 60 offense, 60 defense. Maybe if you run or if you shoot before 24 seconds, you can go to 120 offense and 120 defense actions. But what you have to get is this. So all your drills have to be here inside. 20 seconds go, 20 seconds rest. Or 10 seconds go, 30 seconds rest. It depends if you go on endurance or explosive.
In a real game, when the referee stops, it's not 30 seconds, it's less.
Okay.
It's something like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Not 30.
Okay. I answer you with this. If I have to tell to my friend, see you after the match, I know that the match lasts 40 minutes, right? But how many minutes you tell them later of the game? If a match lasts 80 minutes, do you agree that the game lasts 1 hour and 20? Usually?
More.
1-on-1. And 10 minutes of break, so 1 hour and 30. Game is at 4, 5.5, game finish. So match analysis tell us that basketball game is 1-on-1 game. And more or less, if it's just traveling, it's 10 seconds. If it's a foul, maybe 15 because the referee go, okay. If it's timeout, a little more, but it's free shot, if only 1-and-1. If it's 2, match analysis tell us that more or less, if the action lasts 20 seconds, then players stop on the court to 20 seconds. If the action lasts 30 seconds, more or less players stop 30 seconds. So the model of basketball is 1-on-1. And this 1-on-1 has 88% of 1-on-1 aerobic, inside which we have 12% of the time player sprint. Only 12. Look here, they sprint 3 times in every minute, 3 times, lasting 2 seconds. That means that your playmaker or your forward, in every minute, have 3 sprints, maybe 3 1-on-1, 1 with the ball, 2 without the ball, and each time the sprint lasts 2 seconds and a half. So you sprint 7.5 seconds every minute. That is 12%.
So what you say is better to practice 1.5 hours, the same thing, or
Yeah.
2 hours?
You can full of injury prevention, you can full of free throws, you can full of shooting competition, you can full of defense, you can full of... But you have to know that 1 hour has to be 1-on-1, at least 20 minutes have to be with sprint in every practice. This is the idea as coach you have to get. Choose the drills you like. Okay? And last 5 minutes. Okay, we shall see maybe some 1 or 3 drills. The physical trainer can use the agility ladder, but now if you got it, you don't need the physical trainer anymore. Okay, we can use...
These lectures, they need more.
We can slide between the calls, 10 seconds we slide, 30 seconds we recover, we can play one-on-one, we can do what we want. Now you got the idea, okay? When? 3 practice a week, at the beginning of the practice, after warm-up. Usually explosive strength, after warm-up, at the beginning of the practice, because the most intensity is after warm-up, so around 15 and half an hour at the beginning of the practice. It's better to have higher intensity and then down. And maybe after 1 hour, a little more, other 10 more minutes sprinting, and then a little down. Usually practice goes like that. But 45 minutes a week, 50 minutes in every practice. 50 minutes in every practice. So after warm-up, after 15 minutes warm-up for injury prevention, and we shall see in the second part of the course, we shall have 15 minutes of conditioning. So the first half an hour of every practice, of every week, of every month, of every year, must be warm-up and conditioning. The first half an hour. Okay, torsion. This is more for physical training, but I tell you just this. Every minute, a player has 7 torsion. Every minute. Torsion. Torsion is torsion. That means low post, torsion. That means one-on-one, first step. That means get open. Every minute, 7 torsion. If your player plays 30 minutes, how many torsion again? If your player play, how many torsion again? 200. Your player does 200 torsion a game. Question, how many minutes you practice torsions? Torsion means other muscles. It's not rectus or abdomen. It's obliquus. You have to ask player, feet, right? Past chest or first hand, but they have to live in torsion. So elastic bands will be a great way to empower the torsions. Lines there? Okay, lines. Okay. This is the end of the first one. 1 hour.
חבר'ה, נגיד